Sleeping Beauty. In times past, there was a happy kingdom living with a kind king and a beautiful queen. The king and queen had only one wish, and that one wish was to have a child. The queen prayed every day to the sun god for a child.
Oh, sun god, you bestowed us with all the pleasure in life, but you forgot to grace us with a baby whom we can love. Please, God, I beg you for this. Please, God, please.
Suddenly, a bright sunbeam shoots down and hits the rock nearby. The rock transforms into a beautiful frog.
Don't worry, beautiful lady. Your wish will be fulfilled. With the coming spring, the blossom will come into your life and bring your daughter into the world.
And the frog disappeared.
Oh, thank you for your blessing, sun god.
After a few months, as the frog foretold, it happened. The queen gave birth to a beautiful daughter.
Your cheeks are so red, just like a rose. I'll call you Rosamond.
But you are the blessing from the sun god. I name you Sunshine.
The king could not contain himself with all his joy, and he announced a great feast. He invited the whole kingdom, the wise women and the god fairies to bless the child. The king and queen donated gold to everyone who visited the palace. The 12 god fairies stood forward to present the child with blessings.
May the beauty of the universe be with you at all times. Little princess, my gift is eternal happiness. May you never be sad and always be happy.
I will bestow you courage, honesty,
Kindness, love, health, intelligence.
One by one they bestowed her with all the human qualities to wish for. When the 12th fairy was about to give the new young princess her gift, the whole hall was suddenly covered in green smoke. And when the smoke was gone, the uninvited 13th fairy, who lives in a deep, dark forest, appeared. She was burning in anger because the king forgot to invite her.
So, I see that everyone is invited. All the people of the kingdom and fairies. But unfortunately, I was not invited. Is it because I am Black Fairy and your baby is fair and beautiful?
I apologize for my impolite behavior.
Well, I will not leave this beautiful little princess without a truly unique gift. The most beautiful princess will grow surrounded with happiness, love, and admiration. But in the 15th year of her age, the princess shall prick herself with a spindle and shall fall down dead. Oh my
Seize
God!
that monster!
Everyone was terrified with her curse. The queen began to cry. The baby was also scared and began to cry as well. The last fairy came forward again to bestow her gift upon the newborn baby.
Oh, my little baby. I can't undo the evil prophecy, but I can soften it.
Huh?
The princess shall not die at 15, but fall into a deep sleep for 100 years.
Thank you, God Fairy, for your blessing to my child. We will always be grateful to you for your kindness.
But, Mother Fairy, We wanted to see her marry her loved one. We can't fulfill our wish because we will not be able to live till 100 years. Please do something so that we can see her get married.
Okay. After the princess sleeps, everyone in the palace also will fall asleep within few hours, and will wake up again with her after 100 years. She will wake up from a deep sleep when one handsome and charming prince will touch her body, and only then will all of you be awake.
Oh, thank you, my lady. We will be thankful forever.
The blessed showered by God fairies relieved everyone, but still there was a terror of the curse in the kingdom. In the hopes of saving his child, the king commanded that all the spindles in the kingdom should be burnt up. The servants collected every possible spindle from the kingdom and burnt them all. The maiden grew up, adorned with all the gifts of the royal fairies. Everyone was fond of her. The years passed by, and finally the day of Sunshine's 15th birthday arrived. The kingdom was decorated for her birthday. There was a grand feast in the kingdom. The day ended on a happy note since nothing bad happened on that day. Instead, news came from the queen's kingdom that her mother was ill. On the next day, the queen requested her favorite caretaker to take the utmost care of the princess. The king and queen rode to the queen's father's kingdom. The princess was wandering in the garden, playing with the birds. Duenna was watering the plants on the other side of the garden. Suddenly, the clouds gathered in the sky and started hiding the sun. A beautiful golden butterfly came and sat on the flower near the princess.
Oh, my, what a lovely butterfly it is. I have never seen such a shining butterfly. I shall catch him.
The glowing butterfly so mesmerized the princess that she ran behind to catch it. She wandered as the fancy took her. At last the butterfly came to an old tower. Now the sun was completely hidden, covered with the black clouds. She climbed the narrow winding staircase behind the glowing butterfly, which led to a little door. She opened the door to catch the butterfly, but there in the room sat an old woman and her spindle, diligently spinning her flax.
Hello, Mother. Where is that golden butterfly that just flew in?
I don't know.
What thing is that twists around so briskly?
It's a spindle for sewing. Do you want to try?
Yes, of course, Mother. I have never seen such a thing in my life.
Taking the spindle into her hand, she began to spin. But no sooner had she touched it than the princess pricked her finger with it, and the evil prophecy was fulfilled. The princess fell back and lay in a deep sleep.
This is the punishment of your parents who had insulted the blackberry.
Soon, Duenna realized the princess was not in the garden. She searched for her everywhere in the palace. The king and queen returned and got the shocking news. Every servant and the soldiers were ordered to search for the princess. The king himself to search for the daughter. Soon they reached the old tower. They climbed and entered the door. The king saw the sleeping beauty next to the spindle and cried, "Sunshine! Oh, Sunshine! What happened to you, my child?" The queen reached to the room.
Oh my God! The prophecy! We have lost her for the next 100 years!
Oh dear, please stop crying. As the God Fairy said, every one of us will also go into a deep sleep. But before that, we should prepare her for the coming prince.
The king called to all the royal fairies for help. The royal fairies dressed the princess in the most beautiful dress. The fairies decorated her bed with all the colorful flowers and white fur. Then they placed the princess on the bed. The princess was looking very beautiful.
How beautiful she is looking.
Yes, she is Sleeping Beauty.
The white god fairy then started chanting.
O sun god, here is your child lying on the bed. When she will complete the 100 years of sleep, send her your messenger of true love to wake her up, and shower your blessings again on the kingdom with your sunshine. Amen.
We don't have much time left, dear. Let us get to our thrones. Hurry up!
The fairies left the palace. On the gate of the palace, they chanted the protection spells. One by one, everyone started becoming motionless. The soldiers fell down fast asleep. The horses in their stalls, the dogs in the yard, the pigeons on the roof, the flies on the wall. The very fire that flickered on the hearth became still. The king and the queen slept on their thrones. The dark cloud gathered over the kingdom. The rain started with thunderstorms, and shortly thereafter there grew a great hedge of thorns until at last the whole castle was hidden from view. After a few years, the people started discussing about the death of the whole kingdom. Many princes came and tried to force their way through the hedge, but it was impossible for them to do so. The young men were caught in, and not being able to get free, they also got stuck in the thorns. Finally, a prince who has fought many battles, conquered many kingdoms, heard the story of the sleeping kingdom and its beautiful princess.
My lord, it's very risky to go into the palace. No princes ever returned from that kingdom alive.
That sounds like a challenge. I will absolutely go there to retrieve the Sleeping Beauty.
But fighting against the Black Fairy's curse is not so easy for anyone.
Then I will take the challenge and save the whole kingdom from the curse of the fairy. The sun god is always with me. If I succeed, in return, I will surely win the heart of that Sleeping Beauty. Fortunately, at that period of time, the 100 years were at an end, and the day had come when the princess could be awakened. The prince finally reached the castle. At that time, the thunderstorm stopped. The black clouds revealed the sun, and it started to glow with its bright golden rays. He reached the castle yard. He saw everyone was sleeping, motionless. Soldier! Soldier! My God, he is not dead. His heart is still beating. The prince checked the other soldiers' heartbeats, and he realized that everyone was alive. He entered the courtyard and saw the main hall. The whole court was lying asleep as if they were dead. The king and the queen were sleeping in their thrones. The prince didn't understand what was happening in the castle, so he went further. At last, he reached the princess's room. The prince saw the lovely princess in her deep sleep, and he could not turn his eyes away. What a beautiful girl she is. I feel like I won 100 battles. I feel proud to be near her. He took her hand in his hand and kissed it. The spell was broken. The princess opened her eyes. Everyone in the kingdom woke up from the deep sleep. The king and the queen, the soldiers, the animals, everybody woke up. Even the fire in the hearth started to flicker again.
I was dreaming of you all these years. I'm happy that finally you came here to save me.
I am in love with you, Sleeping Beauty. I can't live without you. Will you marry me?
Yes, my prince. You saved my life. You are my destiny.
The couple walked into the courtroom where everyone was waiting for them with great excitement. Everyone applauded and welcomed the new couple.
Oh, my dear child, finally the wait is over. Finally you met your soulmate.
My baby. I can't tell you how happy I am. My lovely beauty.
Shall I join?
Yes, of course, my son. You are now part of this family.
All the god fairies and everyone from the kingdom gathered in the court to see this memorable moment.
This will be the most memorable day in the history of our entire kingdom. And now I have decided to make it even more precious. Today, I announce the marriage of my dear daughter.
The next morning, the sun shined its light on a little dark hut deep in the forest. That same hut where the Black Fairy lived. The Black Fairy burned into ashes. From the ashes came out the same glowing golden butterfly that mesmerized the princess. The butterfly flew towards the kingdom and sat on a rock near the queen's bath pond. Immediately the rock transformed into the frog. The queen and the princess were in the pond and praying to the sun god. Suddenly, the queen noticed the frog and recognized him.
What a surprise! Mr. Frog, the messenger of Sun God. You show up after so many years.
This time the sun god sent me to bless the kingdom. You came out of the most evil curse of the Black Fairy. Finally, the sun god turned her into ashes, and the god sent a gift for the princess, a golden glowing butterfly.
Oh, my.
The queen invited the frog for the marriage ceremony to bless the couple. The new couple got married with a grand feast. Everyone graced the occasion.
Your every wish will be fulfilled for the rest of your life.
And from that moment, they lived happily ever after.